Last month, I made a couple videos about Christian excusologist Mike Winger telling us that patience will help us understand why an all-loving God is going to violently torture sentient beings forever.
Just the advice of wait.
In his video, Mike made an analogy about critiquing a master mason building a wall, and I didn't have a chance to fully explore that, so that's what we're going to do here. Here's a refresher.
This is where you just have to simply look at yourself and say, if I disagree with God, I've got to be wrong somewhere. I don't know where yet. I'll find out later, but I've got to be way off base somewhere. It's like if I came up to someone who's building a wall and they're a master mason and I look at them and I go, what are you doing, man? That looks so weird. In my brain, I cannot understand any reason why you do that. It doesn't seem safe or wise. But there's a little part of me, a little voice in my head that says, Mike, you don't know anything about this wall or building walls. You just glanced at it and you made a judgment. This is the master mason. You should just let him do his job.
As one of my brilliant patrons, Grant Ledoux, pointed out, a master mason can explain himself. You don't have to just wait to understand why he's building the wall the way he's building it. He can just tell you right now if you ask. In fact, I'm told the master mason's motto is, ask and ye shall receive. They will actually give you an answer right now. How about that? The more pressing problem with Mike's master mason analogy is that we have no evidence whatsoever that the person building Mike's wall is indeed a master mason. Did you talk to him yourself, Mike? Did he show you his credentials? No. You've simply assumed that he's a master mason, and you've assumed that based solely on what other people have said. Other people who likewise never had a chance to talk to him personally or take a look at his credentials. Indeed, you're simply looking at second- and third-hand reports from thousands and thousands of years ago. And in the time since those reports, we've learned a shit ton about building walls ourselves. So we can look at those reports now from thousands of years ago and judge whether that person really was a master mason or not. And not out of ignorance or hubris, but with the genuine knowledge acquired since, which the people who wrote those reports thousands and thousands of years ago simply didn't have access to. We can even inspect the walls your alleged master mason built, Mike. Hey, look at that one over there. It collapsed into a pile of genocide, killing hitch knows how many people. Oh, look at that one right there. It collapsed into a pile of chattel slavery, killing tens of millions. Horrible. And let's see. Oh, look at that. Look at those two. Do you see them? They collapsed into piles of misogyny and homophobia, ruining the lives of billions, perhaps, over the course of the last several thousand years. Now, I know Mike is not particularly thoughtful when it comes to this stuff, but even someone like Mike can see the writing on the wall here, right? Or perhaps not, given that the writing is buried under a pile of rubble and of no use to anyone now. Not millennia later, not when today's genuinely credentialed master builders know structural engineering, classical mechanics, chemistry, thermal physics, etc. This is how we know those old walls were shit, Mike, built by Bronze and Iron Age ignoramuses rather than a master mason. This is the problem with living your life based on reports written thousands of years ago by people who knew almost nothing about the world and were not even skilled in, well, almost anything we value now. Though I guess it wouldn't hurt me to learn how to milk a goat. I could see that coming in handy if things went sideways. Religious people have a hammer, their holy book, and so they think everything is a nail. It's not. Contemporary evangelicals are the intellectual and moral Amish of our time. No offense to the Amish, who are a genuinely delightful and peaceful people. But those evangelicals, in almost every instance, prefer their horse and buggy holy book to our Rivians and lucid airs. As humanity progresses, we can't help but be confronted by new ideas and concepts about how the world works, how to treat others, especially others who don't look like us. We face new ideas about our origins, our history, and how to maximize human well-being, etc. When these new ideas come up, do we use the time-tested, reliable tools that we've developed over the last several thousand years to evaluate those ideas? Or do we look to a book written thousands of years ago by people who knew next to nothing? People in a cult who thought their dear leader was a master mason, but turned out to be just another schmuck from the village. Do we look to people who've given us no demonstrable, repeatable, actionable knowledge? People who've been injecting fear, ignorance, superstition, and brutality into our world, building the shittiest walls ever for thousands and thousands of years? Well, for Mike, the answer is hell yeah. He's absolutely fine using yesterday's technology to solve today's problems. And in its time, I guess that older tech got the job done, kind of. Those poorly built walls did hold for a while. But now, given all we know, given the thousands of years of human progress since, Mike's walls look less like the product of a master mason and more like the product of a Mr. Manson. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.